Welcome to the Retirement Planner Podcast, a podcast that brings clear guidance to help American families like you to navigate the journey from savings to spending in retirement. I'm your host, Don Chamberlin, a certified financial educator, and my mission for over 2 decades has been to educate and help Americans throughout our great country about their retirement planning goals. With each episode, we will tackle subjects such as Social Security, taxes, market protection, everything else you need to know to retire with peace of mind. No financial jargon, just straightforward education and real-world wisdom to help you build the retirement you've worked so hard to achieve. Join me as we explore how to help you make your money work as hard as you have. So welcome back to the Retirement Planner Podcast. I'm Don Chamberlin, and we're very fortunate today to have a special guest, a good friend of mine, John Del Greco. John has been in the retirement planning business for 47 years. I know it looks like he probably must have started at age 15, and he's really been a big influence on me. He gives such a personal service to his clients that it's incredible. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen, how much he takes care with his clients to make sure he gets things right in what he's doing. He's a specialist in the areas of insurance and annuities. We're going to talk to him why he focuses on those type of things and how he focuses on his practice that he does. John and I have known each other, John, probably like almost 20 years now.
Every bit of 20 years.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we were integral in a company that started in 2011 that really pioneered the concept of holistic planning throughout the whole country. So welcome, John. We're very happy to have you with us today.
Thanks so much for the wonderful, wonderful words, and I'm so happy to be here today.
Yeah, I noticed in the background of your office, obviously you're very busy and you got all your client files there and you're working, but you've got a lot of pictures on the wall. Tell us about those
Yeah.
pictures on the wall.
Well, you know, Dawn, that I have 11 grandchildren under the age of 10, and 10 boys and 1 girl, and the furthest one probably lives a mile and a half from me. One lives behind me, one lives across the street. I am blessed, and I get to see those grandkids every single day, and it's just a lot of their artwork that they're here a lot because there's a playground real close. Right, it's part of the office. If we walk outside, and they come here a lot, and they'll spend time drawing, and we put that's their artwork that you see up on the wall. Yes.
So we have 3 grandsons also. I don't know what it is with all of these boys. Why did we get all these boys? It's a lot of energy, right?
I can tell you this, the one girl is crazier than my 10 boys.
Wow.
I'm glad I only have one.
That's interesting.
I only have one. she's a independent, very, very, very competitive. She wants to be a part of everything that they're a part of. And it's good though. And it's good in a great way. Yes.
Sounds like she'll take on her brothers.
Yeah, and she does.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about how you got into this business, you know, the insurance business, the retirement planning business. How did that start for you?
You know, it's crazy, Don. I went to Slippery Rock on a football and baseball scholarship. And back, today you don't play 2 sports in college, but back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was the ability. And I wanted to be a gym teacher and I wanted to coach. And when I graduated in the mid 70s, 75, I think it was, there were no teaching jobs. The population had started to go from 4 or 5 kids to 1 and 2 kids. And so my old high school brought me back as a permanent sub, but I think it was $20 a day back then, and I didn't get I didn't get every day of the week. So a buddy of mine was in this field, and he said, "Why don't you try the insurance business?" He said, "You're likable, you're disciplined." He had known me for a long time, and let me tell you how crazy this is. Let me tell you who he introduced me to be interviewed to come into this business. The manager of Mass Mutual, who was Leo Petrini, the manager of New York Life, that was David Vento, and the manager of Northwestern Mutual, who was Charlie Ferreira. So three of the greatest companies in the country 50 years ago when I was coming on board, and still today, right? So I interviewed with all three of them. Can I give a funny story?
Yeah. I love your stories, John. You have some of the best
So
stories.
I was raised by my Middle Eastern grandparents.
Right.
So I never had a suit. So I went out before these interviews and bought two suits for like $80. And I'm living with my grandmother, and I get dressed up, and I come and I got the tie on and I look real good, and I say, "Situ, how do I look?" She said, "Oh my God, you look wonderful." And I had the first meeting with the Mass Mutual guy, Leo Petrini. So I'm sitting in his office and we're talking for a little bit, and he finally says to me, "Hey, is that a new suit?" I said, "Oh my God, how did you know?" I said, "I didn't own a suit. I just bought two. It is a new suit." I said, "How'd you know?" I was sitting, I had left the tags all on my sleeve. So that was the beginning of that interview.
You know,
And
I had some new pants on last week, and I was about to walk outside the door, and it had one of those, how they have the stickers on them now. It had one of those
yeah,
stickers
yeah,
on here, and my wife Susie saw it and saved me. But otherwise, I would have been in your same predicament.
yeah, how funny, right?
Yeah.
And so I interviewed with all three of those guys. And I ended up liking David Vento a little bit more because a question I had asked them, all of them, was how was I going to meet people and create the ability, because I knew it was commission based, to provide for my family that I would have down in the future. And the other two people, Petrini and Ferrara, were very much, they wanted me to create a list of 100 people,
Right.
call my
They still
friends,
try to
my
do that
family.
today to people that go in the business. I can't imagine. Yeah.
And I was uncomfortable with it.
Me
And I was
too. I had the
uncomfortable with
same
that.
experience with Mass Mutual when I was out of college. Yep.
So it must have been their formula, Dawn. David Vento, when I asked him the same question, he said to me, "I can give you a fish or I can teach you to fish." All right. And I looked at him and said, "Teach me to fish." And he had a service back then of little cards that I would buy. And on the card, it would say like 6 of 75. And it would have a name, it would have an address, it would have a phone number. And they were people that were having their babies, first
Okay.
babies, right? And so I would buy 100 of those a week. And every Monday and Saturday, I would go in and call. And somehow, some way, I would get 8, 9 appointments from those people. And four of them might not show up, but I'd see 4 or 5 of them, and I'd sell two or three. In my first year with New York Life, I set a record for new agents. I sold 142 new life insurance contracts. And that's how I got started in the insurance business, Dawn. And then just gravitated, learned more, and went forward. Yes.
So how did you go from doing life insurance? Because the industry has really changed. You know, people are living a lot longer. You don't see a lot of people dying when they're raising their kids, and that's one of the main reasons for having life insurance. You went from doing that and helping families at that time to saying it looks like people who are retiring need some help. How did you figure out that and transfer from going from helping younger families to people closer to retirement?
With older families. Good, great, 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 great question. So we, in maybe 5 years into New York Life, Dawn, I the general manager that hired me approached me along with two other guys that we had become friends with that were agents like me, and said, "Why don't we break away from New York Life and start our own place?" In 1986, this was right, and the purpose behind it was, I said, New York Life, we had to be captive. We could only sell New York Life, or you would get slapped on the hand. And if you got a couple too many slaps, they were going to get rid of you. And I said to them, New York Life can't be all things to all people. They're good in the life insurance space. They're not good in retirement. They're not good in disability. They're not good in home medical insurance. So I said I wanted the ability to represent companies that would have the best products for what our people needed. So we broke away and we started our own firm, and we said now, because we were fortunate, New York Life had a ton of orphan policy holders, that because we were the biggest producing agents in that group, that we would have the ability to share with a lot of those, and they were good leads, and they led to a lot of other opportunities. But now we're stepping away from that, right? And we're in our mid 30s, and so we said, how are we going to get in front and provide ourselves the ability to have a clientele? And I said, why don't we do seminars?
Was anyone doing
So
seminars at that time?
85, buddy, we started doing seminars,
Yeah, you
and
must
we
have been one
did.
of the first people in the whole
We
country
were the
doing it.
first. We
Yeah.
were the very first in Pittsburgh, and it was a retirement estate planning seminar, which attracted people 55 and over. And Dawn, you're not going to believe this because I know you do a lot of seminars through your group. We only did 4 seminars a year.
Wow.
We did north, south, east, and west of Pittsburgh, just right outside of Pittsburgh, 7 miles, not 30 miles, 40 miles. We spent $1,500 per seminar. We mailed those areas. And we had also, I didn't mention, we had hooked up with an attorney who had provided, he spoke an hour and talked about living trust, durable powers of attorney, all the things that people at the older ages would need. In between his presentation and ours, we got 500 people to come to each seminar. We had to spread them out over 3, 4 days. We didn't give them food. We didn't give them nothing. We had donuts in the back. And the purpose was because it was new and nobody had seen that, and we had knocked it dead. And that's how I transitioned into the retirement community.
What you're saying is it's like the birth of holistic planning, because back then, either you did insurance or you were a stockbroker, because my dad started being a stockbroker in 1960 and he was selling stocks. People, I started in the 80s educating people, and I was teaching people what mutual funds were. No one knew. So what you decided to do was to bring the insurance and the estate planning together. That's like, those are two of our pillars of holistic planning right now. And you were probably some of the first people in the country to begin doing that and teaching people about these things that we're teaching everybody about today. So great job in doing that. How did you go from that part of your career to figuring out, hey, I want to do something where I'm actually being able to do retirement planning more and protecting people's money? Was there stages that you went through, or how did that transpire?
A lot of it, Don, was just a natural progression because now we were meeting people that were 55, 60, and 65.
And they had different
And we
needs, right? Right.
different needs, right? Different stage of life for them. And we were gathering all their information and looking at the different types of investments they had, the retirement accounts, and it was just a natural progression. You know this. I, in my 47 years, I've always been on the safe side. You know that.
That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I wanted your point of view on this. Yeah.
And listen, and I want to make this really clear. That doesn't say anything that do I know that market mutual funds, investment driven vehicles are a part of retirement planning? They are. I know they are. But I allow that to be done through my son. When I see those opportunities and we have to make those transitions, I have from 47 years ago, Dawn, I can say this. The people that I've sold life insurance to, the people that I've sold annuities to, fixed or fixed indexed annuities, they've never lost a penny. Never lost a penny in my 47 years. And for me, that's the greatest gift that I've given my clientele.
Unfortunately, I can't say that, John, because like I was saying, how I was teaching these people about mutual funds in the 80s. So if you know what happened to the stock market, I ask people,
Oh my
what
gosh.
happened to the stock market in the 80s and 90s? Most people don't remember, but the stock market went up from 82 to 2000. It went up 1,000%. And during that, I started in that business in 1985, and so I had 15 years of the market going up. What do you think we thought about safe products? We thought we don't
We
really
don't
need
need them.
that. The market's going to do it for us. Then something happened called the dot-com bubble, and the market went down in 2000, and everybody said the market never goes down 2 years in a row. So I was like, okay, I can believe that, because I'd never been in a bear market like that, right? At the end of 2001, the market was down again, and I'm like, I can't trust Wall Street. I can't trust other financial professionals or my broker dealer that I'm working with. I've got to figure something out. And so that's when I decided to start the Chamberlin Group, and we started doing taxes pretty much right away. I know you've done taxes before. How did you
Yes.
start your own company? And what's your firm's name now?
Del Greco Tax and Insurance. And listen to me. The reason I started a tax business, buddy, was because of you.
Really?
Because when we had met through the USA group, you were the top producer every year that I was there,
We were the
and
largest. We had the largest tax practice, and one point we had the
yes,
biggest office, right?
and I knew, as you know, all my children were going to become a part of my business,
It's a
and
wonderful thing. Yeah.
yes, wonderful thing, and I have. What's the best way for me to say? The easiest way to say this, and it's a proud thing to say, they're not like me. They have different personalities. They have different ways that they approach things. And you know that I've always had the ability to gather referrals more than anybody in the country. And I've made my business off of my referrals. I tried to teach that process to my kids. They just don't have they don't have the ability to do it the way that I did it. So I needed a place for them to have people to come in that they could sit down and talk to. And the tax practice was the answer. When I seen the amount of business that you did from it, some of our other colleagues, and we have a successful tax business. Probably I would say we're up to like 13, 1,400 a year. And it grew from 50 10 years ago or whenever we started. So the big reason for the tax practice was to bring in these people so that and I have nothing to do with it. I don't meet with them. I don't do one thing. That's their baby, and it's worked well for
That's so now you brought in another pillar of holistic planning,
them.
which is the
Yeah.
tax practice, tax planning. And how long have you been doing that?
I'm every bit of 10 years, Don,
Yeah,
and we're
I think it
learning
well,
more.
yeah, we've had our the holistic planning company now since 2011, and you started your taxes before that, so it's probably closer to 15 years, I think.
It might be closer to 15 years. Yeah.
So, well, I found the same thing with my son that you found, is that these kids don't necessarily, they're not the same as us, and they don't want to do the same thing. I had done investments in the past, but he really loves it. He gets into it. It's his passion, like a hobby, and he just has taken, and he's been on the investment committee for Prosperity Capital Advisors, our RIA firm, for 12 years now. And I know your son Michael is doing a great job with doing the bucket planning for your clients and putting together the investment side of the business. You don't necessarily have to do that, so that's great. So uh, this is great how we're bringing in all these ideas. So, what other elements of holistic planning do you guys do in your office, and how did you bring those in?
You know what, Dawn? Primarily, we stay with tax practice, right? Looking at their taxes and trying to help them find ways to minimize it. And I know that I rely on my Michael. He's been going to all the events that we've been having to educate himself. He's nowhere near where he should be, but he is much better than he has been
I
three,
know
four,
he's
five
he's a
years
great
ago,
guy. Yep.
right? The other two parts that we bring is the investments, and we do he does a wonderful, wonderful job with taking them through the questionnaires, finding their risk, finding where the money came from, putting together a package that fits their personal how they want to be invested, and then I step in and bring in the safe money and provide the income and the safety with the guaranteed annuity products. So those are the three things I would say 90% of
And
what
I
we're
know you were
doing
doing
is
health
through that.
insurance at one point, Medicare.
A little bit with Medicare, yes, yes, and that again was thanks to your office. And I wanted to go back a minute, buddy. You mentioned DC. You got to be so proud of him. He has done and made himself an unbelievable advisor in that market-driven arena, and his education and his commitment to his clients is better is good or better than anybody in the country.
Well, I'm very proud of him, and uh, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are without his knowledge and interest in investing at a high level. Um, I could only do so much of that because I'm more of a he never wanted to do the marketing part of it. He tried to teach some classes, and that wasn't his thing. I tried to do financial planning, and that what I could do it, but it would take me twice as long, and it's not something that gives me a lot of energy, like meeting people or doing educating or things like that. So it's kind of a perfect fit there. And now we've been able to add a team and grow a team where we've got 40 people on our team now.
Oh my
And yeah, I
gosh.
don't know if you knew that, but
I knew you had a nice number. I didn't know it was 40.
it's something where we actually have clients in 20 states. And we've educated people in 48 of the 50 states through our digital marketing and our classes online. And I think we're licensed in up to 39 states now. So um, so what we're trying to do is spread the holistic idea that I think this has been a great discussion about how that's developed. Um, over the years, we're spreading that across the entire country so people understand that they need all of the 7 elements of holistic planning, which is insurance, investments, healthcare and Medicare, income planning, Social Security planning, taxes, and estate planning and trust planning. So bringing all those 7 elements together of holistic planning is a key in what people need to do or should do, or at least consider doing before they decide to retire, or if they are retired. Um, in recent months and years, we've had some volatility in the market, and people are starting to get a little concerned. The holistic plan is a way to learn different ways to overcome that and plan for that ahead of time. So if we do have volatility in the market or the economy, your plan is in place to buffer you from some of those things. So uh, this has been a great discussion. We're going to do a second podcast with John where we're going to talk specifically about safety and annuities. We're going to ask him all the hard questions of why annuities compared to something else, why not just put it in the bank, um, why not put more into the stock market, and we'll get some idea of like what an annuity is, why is it a different type of vehicle, and why is John such a big proponent and spokesperson across the country for having annuities in a retirement plan. So thank you for joining us, John. um, for this podcast, I want to say thank you for being a part of it. Thank you so much for watching the podcast today. Our mission is to bring an education-first approach to help countless families like you turn their retirement dreams into reality. Have specific questions about today's podcast? Do you want to learn more about our holistic planning approach? Click the button below to schedule a call with one of our financial educators. Subscribe to our podcast and share with others who could benefit from this episode. Check out our YouTube channel for more videos on this retirement planning subject. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for all your retirement planning needs. Remember, planning for retirement is a journey, not a sprint. It's about taking those critical steps today to secure your future. Until next time, keep planning, keep dreaming, and keep moving forward on the path to your confident and fulfilling retirement.